So let's start with the why this chapter 3 for us was important. Over the years, when you actually work in an industry, you kind of learn a lot which was not a part of your curriculum. And we have all gone through that journey. And today, as employers ourselves, from being employee to an employer ourselves, I think the challenge still continues. So practically 50 years back or 60 years back, the purpose of any design school to get started was to provide industry primed, industry ready talent still remains largely unsolved. And that's where Jumping Goose Academy actually comes in. Jumping Goose Academy is a 1-year exhaustive KRA based immersive program thoughtfully designed in the industry, by the industry, for the creative talent. The platform is designed in a manner that obviously it's designed to cater to the creative community, the designers, the creative fraternity at large. Now, who actually can be onboarded into the program? We have kept the gatekeeping extremely tight. It's going to be very, very handpicked, about 20 to 25 in one Workademy program. Now, this talent comes from different walks of life. Could be an undergrad student who has just completed their design academics, or our master's students, or it could be somebody who is actually want to do it, a career transition, which could also mean there might be some engineers or some doctors who actually now want to pursue design or something. But the premise is that anybody who comes in would have at least an understanding of the basic principles of design and stuff, so that we're not building at Jumping Goose Academy, we're not really building a classroom or an academic program or a curriculum of sorts, right? It is basically, as we said, it's a KRA based, it's extremely business impact based learning platform, and which is live in the industry. It has been designed in the industry, by the industry, and for the creative talent. We've been asked these questions that how are you planning to do it differently from an academic industry? See, academics, by and large, I think the design schools are doing a phenomenal job. The only thing is, we feel that from a industry context perspective, there is a large and ever-growing widening gap that is emerging, right? So curriculums are being revised almost about a year down the line, and at times 3 years down the line, like a major change happens in the curriculum with that pace. But with technology and the way the markets are actually evolving, the faster the markets are evolving, we feel that once the talent graduates and moving into the industry, the gap is so wide that what an industry needs, actually the kid gets actually lost when they are moving into their first jobs, or even signing up for their entrepreneurship. So we were often asked this question, that why would somebody who has already spent so much time and effort into, and money obviously, into learning design, would actually walk into this thing. See, it's not just about the talent, it's also about because eventually the talent needs to fit into the industry side of it, right? So industry is practically facing a lot of challenges in terms of the readiness of the talent. There's a lot of time, money, effort that the industries actually invest into, again, on the talent itself, and then retention becomes a problem. What we're solving for is that when a talent actually does their first job, or actually steps into the entrepreneurial side of it, or even goes for their masters, this 1-year exhaustive, cross-functional, immersive platform actually helps them reach there faster, and they start delivering it from day one itself. How do we try to achieve that? Now, over the last 15 years, Jumping Goose has already had a fairly large palette of clients, whether Indian or international clients, and across domains of consultations. So we do a lot of strategic works with the clients. A lot of consultation happen, brand consultation happen, the brand business consultations also happen, more from a creative perspective, more from a design perspective. So that becomes one large chunk wherein the talent gets inducted into how a brand strategy would work, right? What are the kind of frameworks that a brand would have to operate into. Moving into something which is slightly, once you have an idea around the brand, how do you actually make assets that are slightly more tangible, actually test, survive the test of times as well, and the fast evolving markets, which means your entire brand design exercises come in. Your how do you positioning, the positioning statement comes in, the way the persona of the brand, the archetype of the brand, a lot of these details or finer nuances which lead you then into the tangible aspects, which is brand logo design, the color philosophy of part of it, the typography, typeface is part of it, and all of that, and eventually leading to a proper exhaustive brand book itself. Now, once you have all of these brand assets, is when the talent would actually navigate to how do you learning into how do you communicate these assets and the brand positioning and the tone of voice, and get it more of a tonality that brand resonates with. So be it physical environment or be it the online space. So right from the communication strategy comes into play, the communication design part of it comes into play. How does the retail function, and what are the kind of retail communication content that needs to be rolled out, vis-a-vis what kind of online mediums we have. So right from your website, the UI UX part of it, or the performance marketing part of it, or even the social media marketing part of it, all of these things kind of comes together. Not just that, but also the packaging labeling systems of all of these products come in more from a consumer lifestyle perspective. Within these three domains itself, there is a humongous body of work that actually the talent has to go through. Cut to the fourth aspect of learning, which is the content production side of it, which means that nowadays any sort of a storytelling has to have a very, very strong visual narrative, which means how do you produce content, what goes into behind the scenes, pre-production side of it, the production side of it, and the post-production side of it. All of that actually comes together, right from hair, makeup to the choice of models, how do you audition it, what is the way you do storytelling, how do you do storyboardings and all of that, styling part of it, how do you work behind the lens on light, on the music part of it, how do you compose music. All of these becomes a very, 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 very critical part of the learning process. And because with Jumping Goose we also have a history of with a large palette of fashion and apparel clothing brands we've worked with, the way we understand trends will also get passed on to this learning itself. I mean, with the kind of team of experts that we have, so right from understanding of trends to how do we curate trends, and how do these curated trends get delivered or personalized from brand to brand, from geography to geography. Are we doing hyper localization of these trends, or we are actually just using it more from a cultural nuance perspective, or more from a texture perspective? What do we pick out of these trends actually become important, and from there the collection design happens, which is basically the way the silhouettes would work, what kind of silhouettes, what kind of fabrics, what kind of textures, what kind of graphic elements, how does manufacturing happen. So a little bit insights on most of these things would actually become a part of it. Now, how and why we would do it is basically in a batch of which is as tight as almost about 20-25 hand-picked talent, right? We plan to work on the strengths and where the inclination of the talent works, and therefore the entire module is going to be personalized in the second and third and fourth quarters based on the likes and the strengths of these talent itself. So that's the way the entire kind of platform for a 1-year program comes together. We've kind of divided this entire 1 year into exhaustive cross-functional learnings, and each of these entire 1 year has been spread into quarter-wise learning. So it's Q1, Q2, Q3, Q4, like any other businesses, the way the businesses run. So Q1 will have a certain kind of a learning in terms of research, dipstick, strategy part of it. Q2 has a certain kind of a learning in terms of how do you apply these kind of learnings, right? And then moving into quarter 3, which is more in terms of international projects, going for the live projects and stuff like that. So from day one itself, the talent starts kind of getting a feel of what industry needs, and by the time the third quarter kind of gets done, they're almost ready to kind of move into actively into any industry that we are talking about. And primarily our focus is again on the consumer lifestyle industry, so to say, right? And the fourth quarter is primarily where they actually compile all of these programs, all of their learnings, and almost make a very, very strong and powerful industry primed resume. And that's where the entire portfolio amalgamation comes in. And therefore, it's not just one program that we are looking at. There are multiple programs that we are going to down the line introduce. And the first program is obviously, like I said, it's going to be handpicked 2025 talent who is going to be inducted into the program. Extremely choosy about what kind of talent actually walks in. While we would love to extend ourselves, but we really want to do justice to what we guys are actually wanting to build. Also, mentorship will become extremely important. So there is a limited bandwidth on the mentorship as well. So we want to keep our choice of talent so tight that we could actually value add to them, and not just to them, because this 2025 will eventually walk into a network of our connections into the industry. So the industry by and large will also benefit from what we guys are doing. The other programs that we want to introduce are with a industry collective itself. So we are designing a program with the industry collective, which is very, very focused, in servicing those kind of industries and in those kind of brands. The other program that we will be shortly introducing is from an industry management trainee programs, which is basically when industries actually, or companies, they hire a lot of management trainees but do not have the bandwidth to kind of mentor them one-on-one. That's what comes in, but that's going to be a slightly shorter tenure. It's going to be a 6-month program. And then moving into actually schools where we want to bring in and induct the kids as early as 10th grade and 11th grade students, who just takes a vibe of what it feels like being in an agency environment, what it means to be on the creative side of this thing. So it just helps them on selection by elimination, that do I belong to this side? Am I really intrigued by what's happening here? It's not about technical learning for these kids, but it helps them make decision while they're actually setting up on a very, very critical career path in their life. In the last almost about 10 to 12 months, we have exhaustively traveled across Delhi, Ahmedabad, Mumbai, Pune, Bangalore, primarily in all of these spaces where institutes are there, try to ideally understand what are the limitations of every institute. Most of these institutes, whether A grade, B grade, or whatever, the private colleges, government colleges, also met a lot of industry guys. And because we also belong to a lot of fraternity, how do we make this program a lot more beneficial or impactful for the talent as well as the industry? So by the end of this entire multifunctional learning, which is more KRA based, what do this talent gets? The talent also gets the 1-year experience certificate, because they are not working as students or they are not working as interns. They're working as creative design talent. So therefore they will get experience certificate of 1 year. Number 2, they get recommendation letters, they get CTC worthy certifications. And what we are also doing is we are in talks with a lot of international bodies as well as Indian institutes to kind of help us co-certify this program, so that they can also get academic edge while doing this entire program. And one of the most important things is that you get 100% job offer guarantee. That's what it is. Plus, for talent who actually wants to pursue entrepreneurship or wants to go back to their family business and stuff like that, we are also looking at incubations or at least seed funding a couple of ideas through a network again, or from Jumping Goose itself. First year we're focusing on only about 2025, a batch of 2025, of which we will pick up 2 to 3 candidates who are extremely promising, and we would look at 100% scholarship funding the kids as well. So here we are with Jumping Goose Workademy. We strongly believe in the power of community. Our key stakeholders are students and their parents, the institutes, schools and universities. and obviously the industry partners. We would strongly recommend you to have a look at the website, the Workademy website, and please share your feedbacks on things that you like or things that you feel that we could improve upon. We'd love to hear from you. And don't forget, students specifically, don't forget to join the waitlist. Thank you very much.